All right. So after you would essentially can send your clients over to, I think the preferred method would be clients to homeowners. They would set up an account. It's a really simple traditional account creation. And once they're there, they verify their account and enter their username here. So this is their login screen. And once they go ahead and log in, they're taken to the landing page. And again, as you can see, they'll understand and reference that they're using the Student Debt Solutions tool, but we always propagate any of our partnerships. So you can see here in the upper left-hand corner, that clients to homeowners link. Here on the landing screen, this is their time where they can get acclimated to the process of what Student Debt Solutions is and how it may help them. We've got welcome videos, and then they're able to get started. I want to take a moment here just to point out our chat support. So as Pam said, we offer the chat assistant. She's a big fan, but the clients can always get support in any form, and this is going to be carried throughout their process here of navigating Student Debt Solutions. So we answer questions, whether it be technical or to the level of expert assistance all throughout the process. We do have FAQs as well. Our support time is within minutes, and that updates automatically through the service that we use. On the next page, here's where they'll enter their profile information. We've already gotten a lot of this information, so this very low personal information that we're asking them to collect. So I'll enter Florida as their state. The only other information we do need would be their financial information. This is in the form of the adjusted gross income. We do have calculations available if clients are unaware of their adjusted gross income. And I'm certainly sure that if they're working on attaining something like a home loan, they'd be very familiar since they're really in the middle of that, financial quest. They could understand what that adjusted gross income is and what we're looking for. But here's just a look at the tool. Here on the income, we'll go ahead and just enter in the client's income. Their spouse has some income, how they have filed their taxes recently, and their family size. We've mentioned that the client will receive recommendations based off their repayment goals. Here's where they're going to set those goals. We typically see a lot of clients that are just looking for the lowest monthly payment. We do offer a view of how they can pay their loans off as fast as possible. So, and unsure. So again, most of our clients are going to be looking how to lower that monthly payment. On the next screen, this is how we assist them in getting their federal student loan information. We spent some time in the webinar discussing what type of file we're looking for. So just to reiterate that again, we are looking for a file that's called the National Student Loan Data File. That downloads as the mystudentdata.txt. We have assistance throughout the process. Here we've got a live assistant available if your clients are struggling to understand or where to get their loan information. We have FAQs that document that process step by step, but we also have assistance if it's necessary. There's two ways your client can come here and already have their NSLDS file, or they may not. If they do not, we offer them the instructions to download where they can come back later, or they can close and we're going to help them get that file. We do that by sending them over to studentaid.gov to log in with their FSA ID and password. So those are their credentials that they have previously set up with studentaid.gov. They would enter that and then log in. And just to explain a little bit of that process, they'll log in, and then once they're logged in successfully, all they have to do is come back and hit next, and we will help enter that student loan information for them. So if the client has their NSLDS file, they'll go ahead and insert that now. And that's normally just going to save to their downloads. And again, we want that as that TXT file. This is not them connecting with their student loan servicer. So just take a moment to really reiterate that. We do not want the information from the servicer. We want this file that's held with the studentaid.gov because this is a transcript of the full history of their student loans. At this time, I will hit next. And if I have private loans, I would then enter that at this point. We do a soft pull from a credit report if they want to go ahead and connect to their credit report and pull that private loan information in. It's a very seamless and streamlined process, or they can manually enter that from a statement. I'll give you a quick view of the kind of fields we're looking for. So if your client has private student loans, one thing to let them know is just have a statement available, or they can connect to their credit report while they're in the Student Debt Solutions application. So things like we want to know is just what was the original balance, their current balance, interest rate, and their current monthly payment. We'll help them calculate how long they've been paying. This is just to get an idea of how much longer they have left, so we can calculate, what their expected total repaid would be on those loans. Go ahead and skip that for now for just to get a clean, simple demo here for you. On the next screen, this is where we generate our questionnaire. This is a dynamic questionnaire, meaning that not all of your clients will answer the same questions. This is going to be based off of what type of loans they have, when those loans originated, maybe potentially what schools they attended. And then it also is interactive. So if I answer some questions, maybe I'm still in school, or I'm in an internship, or working in a graduate studies program, it's going to, open up further questions. We got to figure out and learn more about that situation. So again, it's dynamic, and you'll see a progress bar here at the top. So for the first question, are you employed? We'll say, yes, I am employed. Are you disabled? No. Are you currently a student or enrolled to begin classes within 3 months? No. We're going to keep this, again, very simple, just for demonstration purposes. What best describes your current employment status? I'll say I'm full-time, but as you can see, they can have a mix of different types of employment, and we're trying to make that accessible through the options we're providing in our questions. What sector best describes your occupation? Go ahead and just put private sector for profit. But again, here we're digging into some forgiveness programs. Maybe if they're a teacher loan forgiveness. There's different occupational programs that are available for different types of loans. And so we need to understand more. If I said, hey, I'm education, we're going to start digging into that through this questionnaire. What type of employment do you have in education? Which of the following degrees have you earned? Select all that apply. So here, let's say I have a high school and a bachelor's. Have you ever filed for bankruptcy? If so, select which kind. I say I have never filed. And do you believe you can dispute your student loans because of the balance owed or issues with the school? I will say no. Once I'm done with the questionnaire, that presents a review of our responses. Just an opportunity for the client to go ahead and double check the information they entered. And here they can go back and edit any questions. Throughout their process, they've always had this previous button. So if they need to edit or change along the way, that's always been available for them. On the next, this is where we build our plan. We kept it really simple. So what we're going to see is monthly repayment. But if they had a more complicated situation, we've talked about default resolution or cancellation, or if they had private student loans, what happens is that over here on the left-hand side, they will build a stepwise approach. So it's really, do I have private loans? Then what lender? And let's address each of those lenders specifically. If they were in default or had a cancellation, that is above our repayment plans because we need to address that first. So that helps the client build a strategy and which they would then take action on those and sequence of how they're building that plan. Here on our monthly repayments, we have repayment strategies and monthly payment plans. So it can be determined that they may have various payment options and strategies that may go along with that, like consolidation or forgiveness. And so we build those into the options here that we're viewing on the monthly payments. So what we've dropped down to is the recommended, and that was their best, lowest monthly payment plan. And this would prioritize them having the smallest possible monthly payment. And it's ideal if they're looking for some financial relief. So on option 1, we have a payment of around $81. We're estimating the total paid and also the term associated. here for the federal loans. And if they had private loans, they'd still see this in their option here. Okay. So then it would say private loans. And we have shared in the webinar also some screenshots of what these options look like when there's private loans integrated with them. We have a compare button, and this was a great tool where you can see what their estimated monthly payment and what kind of savings that equates to. It will show you if there were total savings involved or any forgiveness. We also show the key points to consider, and this helps a client really dig in and say, is this right for me? So we may throw in like some use cases. It's decent to, it's good to consolidate if you're delinquent on your student loan. It's like, why would this benefit them? So they would see those here and the key points. And this is just to help the client understand, is this a good option? Because we are not just showing them the recommended. We allow them to explore other repayment strategies. And we're only showing what they're eligible for, but there are more than one option with student loans. There's a lot of options in student loan space potentially for your client. And so here for additional options, what we want to do is try to show them what they may not have considered. So these are what their options would have been if they selected one of the other goals. Okay, so understanding the difference between these paths may help the client make the best decision for them. So for the lowest total paid here, we are looking at a different plan. This would be an income contingent repayment plan. Again, they can read a description about that or look at the comparison. How does this, affect my total plan? So there was total savings, but not monthly savings with this plan. And then for a balanced solution, this is us trying to understand, what is a solution that may present itself right in the middle. It's balancing a low payment, but also a low total paid. And so here what we have found is a graduated repayment plan. And that's $144 a month, give or take, a total repayment of around $32,000 with 120 months in total. Here on the comparison, again, they can see it did provide some monthly savings, not as much in total savings, but it's not comparably to what they're doing now. But it isn't a loss of a lot of savings either. They would have the same payoff date to what they're currently doing. So here's, some good points for the individual to consider. We do have a section of suspended plans. These are for our SAVE borrowers or people who may not be enrolled in SAVE, but SAVE may still be an option for them. We do have the red tape around that, and we do follow very closely to anything in the student loan space, laws, regulations, or litigations that are going on. And the application, just to take a moment to reiterate that, we're able to quickly adapt and change. So we watch SAVE, and if SAVE becomes something that is now final, where it's not offered anymore, we could go ahead and take that off for the client. So at this point, the client does need to pick one of these options. Let's go ahead and pick this lowest monthly payment, and we'll continue. So the next step is to choose how they want to file their plan. So at this point, the client has seen everything they're eligible for. They may or may not, but let's say they went ahead, they picked something, okay, and they can take it and do it on their own. But at this point, we want to show them some tools that we can help them, okay? So for our standard product, this is automated plan assistance. What we're offering here is a way for your clients to have all of their documents and forms checked. They also have that expert chat support. So we're able to assist them if they have questions about how to fill out documents, or maybe they just want to double verify that what they've picked may be in their best interest. These are common questions we get from clients. They also will have access to SDS for a year. So if anything changes in their life, lost a job, got married, and they want to reevaluate, they're able to do that. We have calculator and planning tools available, and there's a lot of benefits to getting the plan assistance. One is pretty obvious, which is the expert chat support, but also the documents. And just having support through filling out those documents, making sure they're taking the right steps to get that plan in place. Okay. That is where we see, we call it making sure your clients are dotting their I's and crossing their T's. And that is where the ball can drop a lot with clients, and where they may get plan denials. And all of these plans, again, are your clients are eligible for them, but it's the process of implementing that successfully. And although they may be eligible, they need to get the application submitted in proper order and done correctly, or they can have bumps along the way that can drag the process out, where they'd have to reapply, or just some of those problems that come aboard. So we want them to be accurate. We want them to avoid delays, and so that's the benefit. And then the premium just offers one-on-one assistance, and so that's a phone call or a Zoom call with an expert in student loans to just have a consultation, review all of the options. We're able to make changes for them, help them with their documents. We've got a whole operation on the other side, where there's a management tool where we can guide clients through the process, really kind of take over their session and make sure that they get that specialized advice or support that they're looking for. So at this point, I will make a purchase for our standard plan so that we can show you some of those tools. Here we have the standard access, where we can now prepare our docs. We'll then download, print, and sign them, and then we will send those in. Even though this client did not take advantage of that expert support, we do offer that as an upgrade at any time, just in case they need to go back and they have questions now. Maybe they tried it on their own, they got a plan denial, and they now want to conversate one-on-one to make sure, for whatever it is, whatever may be the reason that may issue that, they can do that at any time. We also, again, have that chat support available, where they can now communicate with an expert one-on-one. So here on the prepared documents, they're able to walk through our Rapid Write tool that allows them to fill these out. Here's what we do is we populate it with all the information we may need. And here's a point of reference. This particular set of solutions that were chosen are a consolidation and an income-driven repayment plan. Depending on how many loans they have, this is approximately, I think it's 25 to 30 pages of application that sits behind here that would need to be filled out and sent. So what this tool does is really lay out instead of printing all of that out and sitting down and trying to navigate it, did I do this right? Did I fill out this table right? This is putting it in a very organized way for the client to just walk through, answer these questions, and then once we're done, we then again fill out what we can, and then they have the survey to answer things like employer, driver's license, right? We're not asking that high level of personal information until it's needed, and it is needed on certain forms. And so the client would enter all of that, and then now we have those documents for them to view, and they're complete. So the client can view or just download straight away those completed documents. So just to give you an idea of what some of those completed forms look like, we're entering all of this information on the other side for them and how long this is. So, this is a 16-page document. And once we've got those done and the client has viewed them, and again, they can go over to chat assistance. Hey, do you guys mind taking a look at my documents? Are they done correctly? Again, we get questions like that, and we're happy to facilitate that for your clients. They would print all of these out. They would gather the additional documentation that may be needed, which can be income information is the one we're looking for most of the time, pay stubs, W-2, tax returns. We guide the clients to go ahead and view their plan for details on this additional documentation. I want to take you over there quickly just to give you an idea of what this action plan or their plan looks like. So this action plan has a very defined set of steps for the clients to take. This is where we put all of the educational material in. Our company is built off of nonprofit guidance. And in nonprofit area, when we're working with clients, we always want to implement an action plan with that client. And so this is our way to really talk to our clients about what it is they've chosen, all of the important things that they need to consider, all of the guidance and that education. You can see a very detailed checklist for the clients to do. We've tried to make it simple in presentation from their action center. We like to call that the Texas two-step. We prepare, we sign, we send, okay? But any of just the clarity along the way, the very detailed nuances, we provide that here. This plan is emailed to the clients immediately upon purchase of any of our filing options, but it lives here for the client to constantly view. Now, after they've printed out their forms, then we have the send guidance on where exactly they need to communicate that they're applying for these. So all of that is housed and held here. Other tools that we do have would be our repayment estimates. And that just allows the client a view of their monthly payment breakdowns. So since they've consolidated, this plan assumes that they would have one loan moving forward. If they didn't consolidate, we would have a list of all of their loans and they could see how their monthly payments are being applied to each of their loans individually. This is actually something that a lot of clients want to see. You know, how is the payoff of my loans going to look? We show them how many months the loans are going to be take until they're paid off. Now, if we're dealing in income-driven plans, we're assuming income. And so we have this assumption of income growth that's built into some of our projections, like forgiveness or total repaid. But if the income changes are different than what we're assuming, so maybe a client, so something that I hear often, you know, I'm not getting increases in or raises, increases in my income. And so my income growth looks something more along 1.5% or 2% from year to year, probably. They can go ahead and apply those changes and look, we have an income column here so they can see how their income would grow and change. And this is a viewing by month, but they're able to view this year over year as well. So they can, again, see how this plan progresses over time. And if their income honestly isn't growing much year over year because of inflation and just the value of the dollar, they can see their income decreasing or, you know, their monthly payment decreasing over time and not growing over time. So that's something that a client may be interested in seeing. So they're able to get those long-term projections, which is something that there's not tools out there that allow a client to really see into what an income-driven repayment plan means for them over the long term. So we really love this tool for that. And if they didn't pick an income plan and maybe it's like a standard loan repayment plan, so very similar, maybe it's like a mortgage or a car loan payment, they're able to they have different tools to play with in here where they can add additional payments or lump sum payments and then see how that interacts with their loan. Maybe if they're looking again for how do I pay off my loan as fast as possible, those types of strategies that some clients like to have. And so that's our calculator tools. So that's really going to conclude our demonstration for today, and I'll pass it over for the Q&A session now.